Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Series X-Men Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure Wave. This is Darwin. So before we get into the review, big shout out and thank you to ToySnowman.com. I had a pre-order with them for the Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure Wave, and they shipped out to me. So a link in the video description below that includes my referral link, which will give you a 5% off coupon when you create a new account. So anybody that uses a referral link and creates a new account, you get a 5% off coupon code in your Frost Rewards. So remember, ToySnowman.com, Canadian-based toy retailer, so on their website and everything, you'll see Canadian prices and things like that. But here we have Darwin. This will be as quick a review as I could possibly do. I'm going to try not to ramble, complain, moan, groan, or anything like that. I'm just going to talk about the figure, and we're going to move on. Probably going to be a pretty quick review. But anyway, side artwork of Darwin looks pretty cool. Not a whole lot going on for the character. The most that I know of Darwin is, again, the character was in X-Men First Class. And basically his mutant power is that he can do his power, or he can evolve himself to fit the situation that he's in, right? So think of survival evolution, right? Survival of the fittest. So if he's in a situation where he's underwater, right, his body will then evolve to survive underwater. Like he'll grow gills, like I think was in the movie. So things like that. So I even read that, you know, when he was fighting the Hulk, you know, I think his body first, you know, evolved to be able to absorb gamma radiation. Well, that wasn't enough, so then his body evolved to teleport him away from the Hulk, to just avoid it completely. So things like that. So it's pretty interesting. But anyway, the Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure Wave. Darwin is the last figure to review. I have already reviewed Sabretooth. In fact, he was the first figure of the wave that I have reviewed, because GameStop has only released Sabretooth, Wolverine, and Siren, and the Big Bad Toy Store got Havoc, and that seems to kind of be it. So not sure exactly when we'll start to see these pop up. I don't think it'll be as late as November. So hopefully in the US you'll start to see these pop up a little bit more. But anyway, the bio for Darwin reads, true to his name, Darwin has the power to adapt against any threat, but be it searing volcanic heat or the cold vacuum of space. So again, his body will adapt and evolve to fit whatever situation he's in. So that's actually pretty interesting. Not a whole lot really going for the figure. Pretty basic. It's all about the Build-A-Figure piece. So let's just get it out of the package and go through this quickly. Okay, so here's Darwin out of the package. So the only accessories that Darwin comes with is he comes with an extra pair of hands. So out of the package, he actually has these fists, and then in the package, you get these hands. The hands are new. The hands are actually done extremely well. Super detailed for the creases of the knuckles and things like that. So I will get a closer look at those. Those are actually done really, really nice. So not bad. I know with some of the MCU figures, I forget which figure it is at this point, but I had talked about how the hand was like extra detailed and stuff. I'm like, ooh, like, and it's a stupid little piece, right? But the detail on it shows that they're adding a little bit more to the sculpt and whatnot. Unfortunately for this figure, that's all that's going to be, is because it's just a Pizza Spider-Man body mold reuse. Now, the good thing is these joints are tight, not gummy in any way, which can happen with like the legs of the Pizza Spider-Man. So I actually am not worried about that on mine. It could be something like that on yours, but for mine, it is good. He does come with the other half of the tank piece for Bonebreaker, and I am really, really excited to put this guy together and get that review out for you guys. So shortly after this video, maybe a couple of hours or whatnot, you'll probably see that video go up. But now let's get in for a closer look at Darwin, because I want to talk about the head sculpt and the hands. One thing I will point out is, as I was looking up images of Darwin, one thing that's definitely, oh, you know what? You know what? I was gonna misspeak, because now that I'm looking at it through my viewfinder, through the naked eye, it's extremely hard to tell, but there is two-tone, two different colors on his arm. Man, I did not notice that until literally right this second here on camera, looking at it like, whoa, you know what? I can actually see the two-tone, but looking at the figure in my hand, I couldn't even tell. Interesting. So we'll get in for a closer look at him now. Okay, so taking a closer look at Darwin, so the sculpt of the head looks pretty good. We kind of have some like folds in his skin there on the back of his head. His ears are just kind of those holes in there. Big old white eyes, nothing going on there. The digital print for his lips and stuff, it looks pretty good. No complaints whatsoever with the head sculpt. But here on the arm, what I was talking about is I didn't think we had the two different colors on the arm. I was looking up images and I'm like, his suit's not really accurate because they just went with the light purple for the whole entire arm. But in fact, there is a different shade of purple right in here on the forearm that I could not tell just by looking. I have to have it under like super bright lights to be able to even notice. Like it's such a subtle difference. But I'm glad that they did that because it makes it, you know, actually accurate. Whereas, man, I just didn't notice it before. It's just kind of crazy. We have this floating belt piece here with a little bit of red, a little tiny bit of black. This dark, like indigo, dark blue color there on the torso and the shoulders. A little bit on the back of the figure, and then for the legs as well. So again, not really a whole lot going on for Darwin. Again, it's just the Pizza Spider-Man body, but at least this one, there's no looseness whatsoever, no floppiness, so I'm happy with that. But looking at these hands, so I was talking about these hands. First, they're way too big for him, and that's not something that I noticed necessarily in the images that I looked up of Darwin, to where his hands were like extra large or anything. Maybe in certain situations that could be the case, but it doesn't look like they're just big just because. So it's just interesting. But these new hands got some nice sculpted detail. In fact, maybe these are the ones from the Eternals, Icarus. I think Icarus. Somebody had some big ass hands on that figure too. But looking at the hands, like take a look at all the wrinkles inside the hand, like even for the palm, right? So you have all those wrinkles in your palm. They sculpted those lines in there, and then all for the knuckles on the fingers. That's all sculpted. Like, look at that. Look at all the knuckles and everything. That is an extremely well sculpted hand. It would be nice to get that like on bodies and stuff. But you know, I guess in the hands, you know, it's a start. So definitely a nice touch, and I'm probably highlighting that a little too much but I think that's one of the better things that this figure has going on. It's comic accurate, sure. It's just not necessarily a figure I think a lot of people were asking for or even expected. But it's always nice to add additional characters and things like that. But you know, still a little iffy on it. But it does look good. Now let's zoom out for the articulation. Okay, so the articulation for Darwin, he can look down all the way, which is great. He can look up all the way as well, so not too shabby there. Full rotation in the head, of course, and you get some neck pivot going on in there. Not too bad. The arms, you can get the arm to go out up a little bit. Full rotation in there, of course. We have the butterfly joint, so you can get the arm to go back a little bit, and then coming forward a little bit as well. He has a very large shoulder, so you're not getting a whole lot of cross body, even with that butterfly, unfortunately. Upper bicep swivel in there. You get a double jointed elbow. Again, it is the Pizza Spider-Man body, so older body mold. So there are pins, so double jointed elbow, you get that much bend there. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge, and that's on the open hands as well as the fist, same hinge. Ab crunch, he can crunch forward only a little bit, not a whole lot. Going back, I can't really get mine to go back, and I feel like it should, like a little bit, but there's a lot of resistance in getting him to move back, and I feel like I'm going to break it if I try to move it back any more than that. You got a waist swivel in there. Legs go out that far apart. Can kick forward that high, which is very high. Leg actually goes back quite a bit there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed knee. Again, there are pins in the knee, no calf swivel or anything like that. Foot hinges all the way down. You get some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Again, nothing new here. We've seen it all before. But you know, it works out well. But again, mine is a very sturdy figure, and that's not something that we see a lot of times with the Pizza Spider-Man mold. I usually have some gummy ass legs and things like that, but no, I don't have to worry about that with Darwin, so that's actually kind of a nice surprise. Okay, so here is the entire Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure wave all here together. Sabretooth, Havoc, Vulcan, Maggot, Wolverine, Darwin, and Siren. And they all look pretty good together. At first glance, it's kind of a hodgepodge of different characters, which isn't a problem because that's how waves really used to be. But I think in this case, we at least get several characters that kind of work with each other. Mainly Havoc, Vulcan, Maggot, and Darwin. Because Havoc, obviously Vulcan's brother, they've been a lot of storylines and whatnot together. I did read that Maggot was involved with some kind of storyline that did involve Vulcan as well. And then Vulcan and Darwin, I believe, were kids, friends from a young age, or they really knew each other. I think they were both, you know, were recruited to Moira McTaggart. Some things like that. So there's some connection with at least some of the characters. Obviously, Sabretooth would kind of be on its own because, you know, first appearance of him. This particular version of Wolverine is, you know, that's separate. And then I don't think Siren has been involved in a storyline, but I could be wrong on that. So it's just kind of interesting how this wave was kind of put together. But again, I don't mind the whole, you know, kind of random characters being put together when, you know, the full waves of one entire storyline is okay. I don't even mind that either. But that what happens usually in that case is we get a lot of repeat characters. So I think here, you know, it was a way to get some new characters like Siren, Darwin, Maggot. Did anybody think that we would be getting those figures, those characters? Probably not. You know, I think eventually a Vulcan was going to come out. I think Havoc is inevitable to get a repaint at some point. Same with Sabretooth. Same with Wolverine. So at least we got 3 different characters that we probably didn't see coming. At least that's my thoughts. You guys let me know in the comments below your thoughts on that. Also, let me know what you guys think of Darwin. Are you picking it up strictly for the Build-A-Figure, or are you actually say, hey, Darwin figure, finally, I'm glad I have that. Again, the new hands are cool. They are not the Icarus hands I checked. They are not the same. So, you know, you guys let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.